The latest DC finest, Metamorpho, the Element Man. Now, this is a real odd book. Really great to see. I've got it already in the showcase, and I'm going to put that in the video as well. But this one, 592 pages. I paid £26.30. I think it was about that. I've noticed prices down to about 23, so you should be able to find it reasonably easy. 592 pages and includes stories from 1964 to 1972. You can see there on the back, lovely run of there all the way through 1964 to 1972. Some of the covers, so you can see Justice League of America's included, Metamorpho, of course, the issues, as well as Brave and the Bold, and the full list, Brave and the Bold 57, 58, 66, 68, 101, and also Metamorpho 1 to 17. It finished at issue 17, and Justice League of America issue 42, $39.99. This is great. It is also probably better than this, depending, of course, if you like the artwork as black and white or not. But this also includes one extra story. I was trying to work out why the page number count was slightly different. Brave and the Bold issue 101 is not included in the showcase. Let's go for this. This is just great, really weird, completely unusual, probably some of the most unusual DC comics ever, I think, personally. I think certainly definitely in the 60s. And the 60s had some really weird stuff. Well, this really pushed it. I think there was lots and lots, like the Metal Men, and also Batman, and many other characters turned up as well. Obviously, Justice League of America. You can see there all the listings there, and most are penciled by Sal Tropini as well as Ramona Fradon, and they're just great. I really, really love Ramona Fradon's artwork. I've done a review of one of the books about Ramona Fradon, who I think is a superb artist. So this is just a great book, and I just love it. Just really good, weird and wonderful stories. And it starts here, Sapphire, and of course the origin of Metamorpho. No messing around with it. You get straight into the origin story, and well, what powers? He can basically transform into all kinds of different elements. Now, I'm not certain every single element's explored, and also sometimes some of the elements I think, is that real? But also, I suppose it's a great science lesson. I'm not going to say whether it's accurate or not, whether this reacts with this or whatever, because quite often that is used all the way through it. But you've got a good support cast as well. A really nice one, obviously got here, Love Struck Java. This is a great way. Fortune, my great strength can lift a stone. Sometimes, unfortunately, he is not as useful because he always seems to be a bit worried about things. So the Orb of Ra. And he's unconscious. How much his master will be grateful. His master, of course, Strag. Strag is supposedly, I think, the richest man in the world or something. So probably comparable with a collection of the well-known characters. And here, it's unbelievable. You become some kind of super elemental being. I just loved it. Absolutely. This character, I was just trying to think of, there's no real comparable character, and someone's going to point out straight away after saying that, in the Marvel Comics universe. I don't think there's any sort of Metamorpho-like character. I mean, you've got lots of characters, that obviously the Human Torch, you've got Iceman, you've got various people who are like Molten Man, etc. But you haven't got really anyone that can change elements, and that's the thing, which is good. You wouldn't want... Also, another character I should have mentioned, of course, the character that was mentioned right at the start, the love interest in this story, Sapphire. And she's a great character. Well, she turns up everywhere in the stories. And also, there's also, of course, slight conflict later when another character turns up that sort of causes a bit of a... I love this bit. I love the sidebar there. Brave and the Bold presents Metamorpho. So you've got the Brave and the Bold there. Great. You've got Java, Maxwell Tremaine, all that sort of thing. At least it just tells you the characters that are going to be in the book. Because sometimes you think, who's that character? Obviously, you've got Strag there. I better not tell him I can't find a cure. Actually, that sounds a bit like obviously the Fantastic Four and the Thing, doesn't it? A bit the Orb of Ra, obviously again appearing up, but he can just turn into anything, and it's just useful all the way through. He can turn into the metals, obviously not so often water, but he certainly can turn into like gaseous thing, but he can also just do various things like this. He can turn into a very useful. Well, the thing is, I always think like Reed Richards, I suppose, is sort of comparable, should have been. Reed Richards, for all his great genius, never really used his body in the way that I think they could have used his body, obviously twisting it, spinning like a carbon drill, as it says there. He finally gets his first issue, and in this, he becomes an atom bomb. He becomes all kinds of different drills, whatever, turns into all kinds of different elements, and a whole range of stories are made possible by that. And there he is, of course, turning up there. Obviously, as Rex Mason takes off his mask, and there he is as Metamorpho. And, of course, there's Sapphire. Poor old Java, still hopelessly in love with Sapphire. And now he turns into a rocket. How can the guy compete with someone that can do that? Look, he's flying along there. Obviously, he doesn't need any air at this point. I suppose, why should he? And there he is, deep sea as well now. So you've got here Sapphire breathe, and of course, wonderful pretty girls who have ordinary guys that. And on to the next story. In this case, you can see he splits apart as well. And you've got all kinds of different weird and wonderful villains all the way through this. In this case, Justice League of America. Metamorpho says no. Very few people ever say no to the Justice League of America. You've got Superman there, obviously Flash and Batman, and that was issue 42. Now, he didn't appear, I think, any point after that, certainly in the first 100 or so issues. Please tell me in the comments below if he actually joined the Justice League of America later on. Okay, a great story, absolutely very enjoyable again. I must admit, I love the Justice League of America, always classic stuff. Then on to another story. This one is a weird one, Metamorpho of Skyscrapers. And obviously there he's back himself in this story, the Iron Magnet. They're both element men. Am I dreaming, she says. And The Brave and the Bold with the Metal Men. Now, this is when I really loved The Brave and the Bold. It was one of my favourite comics anyway, but I always felt, why didn't they do more stories with Metamorpho, Metal Men? Just not always Batman. I know people probably say, no, it's great there was Batman. I personally thought they missed a golden opportunity. They should have kept on changing it with different storylines. And there, the wreck of the renegade robots. I really enjoyed Metal Men. I really hope they bring out a DC finest of that. It'll be brilliant. And of course, on to the next story, another one, Undersea one there. And yet more villains and oddball characters all the way through this. Dr. Dread, DNA Man. Oh, there's Batman there. Batman and Metamorpho. Now, I don't know if this was actually the start of the run, probably around about this sort of time when Batman did take over the comic. Obviously, at this point, of course, the TV series, I guess that was the reason. And you got Batman becomes the Bat Hulk. Only slight resemblance to a certain character in a certain other comic. But of course, you've got the good old rogues there. Obviously, the Riddler, Joker and Penguin. And on to this story, which is yet another oddball character with a mad dictator. You've always got to have those, haven't you? And some more oddball characters as well that Metamorpho faces. Usefully changing into whatever, but the artwork is still consistently brilliant all the way through this. I love the colouring as well. The colouring is so bright and cheerful. And yes, again, this guy is really, you never know about this guy, Stag. So he obviously is a bit of a dubious character. He's obviously the richest man in the world. And though I always find that slightly unusual, since wouldn't that be Lex Luthor? I thought Lex Luthor was the richest man in the world, but clearly, obviously not. But still, maybe sort of. However, we do get this. We get Element Girl, Element Woman, whatever, Element. And of course, that does create a bit of a problem, a bit of friction between Sapphire and, of course, and she turns up a bit. So at one point, she's sort of like, and then she turns up again. Obviously, it was a great character. Obviously, all the letters came in saying, please, please bring back Element Girl. Again, another character that I can't think of really that there's any comparison in the Marvel universe, which is good. And you've got, now the artwork did change a bit. It says there's the artwork there, pin-up, fab pin-up and contest winners Metamorpho. And they also included these, which I think are quite good. But really nice that they're including these sort of extras, sort of thing you might put in the back. Instead, they put them in order, which is great. But the artwork did change. You can see there the style of artwork is very different from the earlier Ramona Fradon style, which is nothing wrong, but it's still slightly different. It's a bit more dark and gruesome there. Obviously, things were changing it in the 70s because this is going in the 70s. You've got here this one, Batman one. Really, really good story. However, this one is not included in the showcase book. Showcase one doesn't include this one. I was quite surprised. Don't know why they left that off, but they obviously did. And that is that. I mean, just wow. What a great book. This Metamorpho, love it. I love the stories when I was growing up. Picked these ones up quite regularly. I unfortunately didn't keep any of them, but there was only 17 issues. I'm really surprised there were only 17 issues, but they were great. They were really, really good. And there's so many of those sort of quirky sort of DC characters that I would love to see getting a DC finest. Metal Men, of course, is one up there. Are you going to pick this one up? You got any thoughts about getting this one? Have you got it already? I was quite surprised that this came out so quickly, actually. I was somehow suspecting some other one. I don't know why, but I saw this in a certain shop. I'm not going to mention the name, but I saw it there and I thought, that's strange. I hadn't even realised it was out. So I was really pleased to get this one, and I'm really glad. There you have it. Showcase as well as the DC Finest Metamorpho. I did notice it says volume 1, so I assume at some point there will also be some additional volumes of this maybe. Obviously they never did a volume 2 for that one, but hopefully there'll be some many more stories of Metamorpho to come. So you're going to pick this one up? Is this in part of your plan of getting this one, or you're going to pass it by? Also, any other DC Finest you've bought? I'm thinking about getting the Catwoman one, the JSA one that's coming up fairly soon. I definitely will be getting, so that's definitely on there. And this one, any others you'd like to see? When I was doing this, I was thinking, you know what? I would love to see a Metal Men one. I haven't got the Metal Men showcase, so that will be really great to pick up. So I'm really just loving this series. It's just great. Absolutely really pleased that DC are bringing them out. And they've turned out to be just a great set of works. I just think they're just really good value. I mean, this one cost me about £26. I mean, that's brilliant. Obviously, it's $39 still. The back, yeah, $39.99. Just great value, I think, for some really classic, great stories. So, hope you found this of interest. Bye.